All right, what is up, everyone? Good evening, or whenever you're watching this, if you're not watching it live. I'm Darkside Phil. Welcome to the Hate Live podcast. Tonight is Tuesday, April 1st, 2014. And you may be saying to yourself, why is Phil doing a Hate Live on a Tuesday? He never does Hate Live on a Tuesday. It's almost always a Thursday. This is very confusing. It's very simple. Last week, I was kind of in a rush to get stuff done, to get as far as I could in certain projects that I was working on. And this week is such a unique week. It's so different from my usual content. I wanted to do basically an opportunity here to talk to you guys about what's been going on around myself or on my channels, to tell you what's coming this week. Also, of course, to discuss gaming news and to take live callers. But really, this impending event that's happening this week is so big, and it's such potential for massive change and positivity for me that it really needs to be focused on. And that's going to be the emphasis of tonight's Hate Live podcast, even though we will be talking about other topics. Of course, I'm talking about the impending house hunting trip that I'm going on in the next week and a half. And it's huge. It's life-changing. If we can go out to where we're going, which, by the way, in this podcast, this very podcast tonight, I will be revealing the big reveal of where we're going, okay, for our very first house hunting trip. Hopefully our last. Maybe we'll get lucky. If not, we'll move on, okay? So, yes, it's huge. Potential to change stuff for the better, to have a better setup to do work, to have more filming locations, to have much more content around me, to actually fill all the ideas and the projects that I have in my head that I've never had to be able to implement because of the limitations of living in this very small condo. It's crazy. The potential for massive positive change. And I'm so dedicated this year to doing this. I want to thank everyone who's been there and been supportive of me over the course of the year. And since the beginning, but in particular this year, as you know, it was a slower year. There weren't a lot of releases until almost, late February and March. But you guys stuck around. You watched the content, even if it was downtime content and it wasn't the most positive stuff. Not positive, I'm sorry, popular stuff. You still watched whatever it was that you watched. And I'm so appreciative of that, that I have a fan base that cares enough about me, that finds my content entertaining enough that you will come back no matter what, even if it's not for the latest, hottest games, because there are none coming out, okay? So, let's talk. Before we get to the house hunting venture, and I give you all the information about that, let's talk about what's been going on around me this past several weeks leading into this trip. Well, basically the month of March was insane overdrive for new releases. There were something like 6 to 7 major games that everyone was, chomping at the bit to see, are they any good? I'm really interested in seeing if this game's any good. And some games, I have to say, were pleasantly surprising to the point where no one really knew if they were going to be good. They ended up being tremendously great. One that comes to mind would be South Park: The Stick of Truth. And we've had our duds. We had the games that really we thought they were hyped and wow, this is going to be so great. And then the game comes out and it's kind of like meh. And the games that I'm talking about there, I mean, Thief, Titanfall, and to some degree, Infamous Second Son, all were kind of like really hyped games. And then when we actually played them, we're like, they're okay, but they're not exactly system sellers. They're not exactly what we thought they were going to be. And so, it's been a mixed bag. And it's been a crazy great month for me, by the way. March was very busy. I was insanely busy creating content. You were busy watching the content. And it really showed, and I'm very appreciative of that, so thank you everyone who watched my content during that period as well. But right now, we're entering a period that's going to be very, very, let me put it this way, dry, and it's going to be me trying to give you more entertaining content at a time when there is nothing new coming out to really fill the time. And so, perfect example, the first entire, 3 weeks of April, there's no new games out. The only games that are out are MMOs. And this is bad because, number one, let's face it, MMOs, I don't like them. I don't play them. They're too time-consuming, in my opinion. They hook you and they take too much time to play. Monthly fees, I don't agree with. Once you buy the game once, you should be good to go. And number two, I don't think that they would make good playthrough material. If I was going to play Elder Scrolls Online, I'd have to play it for so long that, number one, you'd probably get bored because, let's face it, MMOs are like a lot of repetitive grinding gameplay. That's pretty much primarily what MMOs are. And number two, again, these games are incredibly long. So imagine a playthrough of me trying to do Elder Scrolls Online and it takes me 4 months to get to the end game of the stuff because I'm teaming with people and doing this raids and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it. So what I need to do is to strive to find content for you guys that's going to entertain you, even though it may not be humongous, new game blockbuster views, stuff to fill this dead air and this dead time. And as of this week, I started Resident Evil 4 HD, and I also started Final Fantasy X HD. And predictably, Final Fantasy is not doing as well as Resident Evil. In fact, Final Fantasy really isn't doing that well at all, but I was expecting that, it being a JRPG. But there is interest. The streams actually have held some pretty decent numbers of people when I do them. And, it is what it is. Unfortunately, I ran out of time and did not have an opportunity to finish Resident Evil 4 HD before I go on this time off. I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to handle that in a little bit, okay? So, those two playthroughs are currently what's kind of ongoing on my channel, DSP Gaming, at this point. I also made a big announcement that I'm going to be playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion as a weekly series. Remember when I was doing Friday Night Fallout and I was doing Friday Night Dark Souls and stuff like that last year? It's going to turn into Oblivion. But what I'm thinking of doing is, because Oblivion is such a long game, that instead of doing it as my shorter nighttime streams, I may actually do it as the first streams on Friday, because I think that people would want to see a 4 to 5 hour block versus only a couple hours of Oblivion every week. You know what I mean? It might even give you Oblivion blue balls if I only did that much content every week. And therefore, it's coming up. It's going to start once I get back from this big trip coming up this week, which I'm going to explain. So, the bottom line is, I've been doing those playthroughs, enjoying both games, by the way. And I'm very much so enjoying the streams and doing it like that as well. Today we had a little bit of a snafu, and I have to apologize to anyone who was possibly watching my April Fool's Day special on stream. Every year I do an April Fool's Day special. Usually it has a running theme that's kind of continuate with previous years. You know what I mean? Almost like it's has continuity with previous years. Last year was an exception. I decided to do something completely different and outside the box because I had the live streaming capability. And it ended up turning into the Dark Souls playthrough, which in turn led to the Demon Souls playthrough, which then led to the Dark Souls 2 playthrough. So it was a good positive thing came out of it. But I really felt that last year's April Fool's special wasn't either nearly as good as some of the previous ones that I had actually done. And so this year, I wanted to go back to my roots and kind of do something focused kind of on similar to how I used to do it. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing because I know a lot of you haven't seen it. It's only been live on YouTube for like 2 hours now. So there's no way that, everyone who's watching this has seen the April Fool's special yet. But basically, I take 3 games. I put them into the kind of comedy that I've been doing for April Fool since the beginning. Okay? And mixed reactions. Let me put it that way. I think that my problem here was that I gave myself a project, the scope was too big, because each game was on a completely different format. We had Xbox 360, we had PC, and then we had PS3. And because of that, I had to keep switching equipment. And because I had to keep switching equipment, I had to keep taking the stream down between games. And we had a big technical difficulty doing this earlier today, completely screwed up. Here's what happened. This is so ridiculous. So, the thing is, with my PC that I use in the living room here for all this stuff, all the streaming, the uploading, etc. This PC is faulty. This PC was broken since the day I received it. It's got USB ports on it that I should have use of that don't work because they weren't hooked up properly, and I don't even know if they could be hooked up properly. I mean, I'm no computer expert, so I couldn't do it, okay? And so what I have a limited amount of USB ports to work with in this. Already, you've got critical things like the capture device that are hooked up, things that I can't unplug, okay, per se. I cannot unplug them to plug other things in. So really, I'm working, if you could believe it, this whole streaming setup, including the webcam, the mouse that you can't see, I can't lift it high enough. There you go. The mouse that I use to actually activate and operate the streaming software. My headphones, okay. The microphone, I can't lift the microphone high enough, but the microphone. Basically, there's like 6 to 7 pieces of equipment that have to be plugged into 2 USB ports because I don't have enough. And so this is how I've done it for about, a year now that I've been doing live streaming. Unfortunately, earlier today, I had a big problem because I had a plan that I was going to play a PC game. I'm not going to spoil what it was because it was a mystery game. I didn't announce it or anything. But I was going to do it with face cam, but also on the PC, right? And when I went to do it, I was plugging things in and I realized they're not working. All right. Now I have these two USB hubs that go into the two open USB ports that I have on my desktop PC, and they have multiple ports. So I was trying different ports. Something. These headphones right here, they have a receiver. Now you don't see it because I'm not using it right now for a reason, because I couldn't get it to work. The receiver would not work no matter what I did. The computer would not recognize it. I was just like, this is ridiculous. I've done this 100 times before. Something went wrong. Whether it's the USB port lost more charge or the ports are going dead on the USB hub, I don't know what. I couldn't get the headset to work. And I was losing my mind thinking, how can I fucking do this then? I can't do my idea. I don't have, if I had extension cords, this is what a lot of people don't realize as well. I do everything from the living room. So everything is run across my entire living room. You need like an 8-foot cord to do it, if not longer. These standard cords are only like 3 to 6 feet. So I couldn't, there was no way to have this just plug into my audio jack on my PC. It wouldn't reach. I don't have an extension cord for it, so I couldn't reach it. So I'm racking my brain earlier today thinking, oh no, how am I going to do this? And unfortunately, an hour passed with the stream being down when it was supposed to be the transition from segment 1 to segment 2. And I'm just like, this is a nightmare. This really sucks. It's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for the viewers. And so I'm bogging, really just like trying to figure out what can I do. And then I thought, I had a brain epiphany. I said, oh shit, I have a pair of headphones, a really, really crappy old pair of headphones, Logitechs, that are for PC. Now, those Logitech headphones use a standard speaker wire. I'm sorry, not speaker wire, stereo cable. You know what I mean? RCA cable, RCA jack. But they came with an adapter, and the adapter you could plug into there, and it turns to USB. And I tried that adapter, and hallelujah, the adapter worked. So I was actually able to get these headphones to work with the adapter, and now I have headphones that are working with this PC. And I was just like, what an ordeal to get this going. And finally, I did get it up and running. I did do segment 2, and then we transitioned over to segment 3. If you want my opinion, segment 3 was absolutely freaking hilarious. Segments 1 and 2 were kind of okay, there's a laugh here or there. Segment 3 was good. Segment 3 was funny, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So, the April Fool's special is live. If you want to watch it, please do. I mean, please give it a look. The April Fool's special traditionally does pretty good. This year, I don't know if it will, because kind of like I said, because there was this botching of everything that's going on with YouTube and the YouTube bugs right now, which I've talked about a couple times now, but there's this new bug on YouTube where new videos that you upload don't have view counts that go up the proper way. In fact, they all reflect low views. I'm talking double digits. Normally, my video, I upload it after 20 minutes, it's already into the triple digits, guaranteed. Now they're locking in at really low view numbers, and it is affecting views. I'll be honest with everyone. It is affecting views. People are looking at videos and saying, oh no, it looks like this video didn't get a lot of views, it must not be good, and they're not watching it, instead of saying, oh, it's a YouTube bug. And this is the problem with people making judgments on YouTube on videos based off of views. So I'm worried that this set of April Fools, people might not watch it as much as they did previous years because, oh, why are the views so low? That must mean that's not good, and then they never even give it a second thought. Definitely give it a look, okay? So I did that earlier. That was my first stream today. Now, of course, I'm doing Hate Live. So you may be wondering, well, what's going to happen for the rest of the week? Well, starting tomorrow, this is it. This is my time off. I actually am picking up my girlfriend from the train station tomorrow. We've got a lot of work to do. First thing I need to do is I need to call my mortgage broker. Not mortgage broker, what am I talking about? My realtor. Call the realtor. The realtor, I sent her the list of homes that we're looking to look at when we go house hunting. And I need to talk to her about the specifics, the logistics of this weekend when we are going to do the house hunting. How can I meet up with her? Where are we going to go? How are we going to do this? So I got to make that call tomorrow. Tomorrow we got to go out. We got to do crazy amounts of shopping because we need supplies and things for this trip. I got to stock up here because I need to stock up on all kinds of groceries and stuff that I'm low on. And this is the time that I do it when my girlfriend is here to help me carry bags and stuff. And there's a lot of work to be done before we can head out house hunting. So tomorrow's going to be an incredibly busy day for us. Thursday's not going to be as incredibly busy because it's going to be a more low-key day where we're going to have a date with each other. We're going to decide if we want to go out and maybe do, want to go to the mall, or you want to go see a movie, or you want to do this, or you want to do that. We decided to have a day together before the whole house hunting venture starts because we said, we don't want this trip to her. She comes, we're flying out somewhere, we're on a plane. Next thing you know, you're there, you're in a rental car, now you're looking at houses, now you're doing stuff, she's back, and the next thing you know, she's home. We didn't want to do that because we haven't seen each other in a month and a half. We wanted to have some us time too. So we actually set it out. So there's a day here where we have a day to do whatever we want together, and that's this week as well. But here's the deal. I know I didn't beat Resident Evil 4 HD. There may be a point during either tomorrow or Thursday where I have a couple hours, and I may try to beat the game. I'm that close to the end. Just like another 2 hours, I'll probably beat it. And, you know, it is what it is. If people are going to complain that, oh, no, Phil's doing it and his girlfriend's there and she might actually open her mouth and it'll ruin the playthrough. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's either that or you could just wait 2 weeks for me to play the end of the game, which I don't think a lot of people want to wait for, you know? So we'll see what happens. I'm not making any guarantees, but there is a chance that I will play Resident Evil 4 either tomorrow or Thursday, okay? Now, as for content-wise, I do have one batch of Resident Evil 4 I have not uploaded yet. Those are going to go live tomorrow on DSP Gaming, okay? I'm actually going to upload them overnight and name them and everything so that they're going to go live tomorrow. And then obviously later this week, if I do beat the game on, you know, during the week, then I will go ahead and upload those videos as well. I also have a batch of fighting games. I have a batch of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike that I played a couple weeks ago when I actually beat a game earlier than I thought I was going to. And so because the game was over, I had like a whole hour to do nothing. So I said, what the hell? And I jumped and I played a set of matches, and I did pretty well, and it was pretty fun, even though I don't think that really the netcode was improved at all, which was the whole reason why I picked Third Strike to begin with. There was some announcement that the netcode was patched, and it really wasn't any better. But I had fun doing it, and I never uploaded those, so I'll probably end up uploading those this week as well. And that's pretty much going to be the extent of any gaming footage you're going to see from me this week. Everything that I've done now has been thoroughly uploaded, okay? And my time off, as I said, starts tomorrow. It's not going to end until Saturday, and I'm not talking this Saturday. I'm a week from this Saturday. So starting this Wednesday, no live streams and no consistent gameplay at all until a week and a half after that, basically. And it has to be done. I have to dedicate myself to take the time to do this house hunting. So what I would ask of you is this, okay? I actually asked to pre-stream this, but I'll ask the people watching the video now as well. During this time period, when I'm out doing important adult stuff that I need to do, you know, I would love to still be here daily playing games with you and sharing that with you guys, but I can't. This is at one circumstance where I just can't, okay? Go back and watch a playthrough that maybe you never checked out. One that a lot of people said was good, but you never had a chance to look at. You know, out of the 28,000 videos that I've uploaded to DSP Gaming in the past few years, chances are you haven't seen them all, and there's probably a bunch of stuff that's really good that you didn't have a chance to see. The same thing with the King of Hate vlogs. I'm sure there's probably a bunch of game reviews, vlogs, things that have happened that you didn't pay attention to. DSP Tries It, Cooking with the King, that came back this year. All this stuff is out there, and you can watch all this content during this downtime when I'm not able to make new content for you, okay? I did also say this on the pre-stream, but I'll say it again here on the live show, is at any time during the year, if there was a good time for you to become a paid subscriber of my Twitch TV channel, Darkside Phil, now is the time. Because number one, you're going to get entered into the PS4 giveaway, which is going on right now. It actually started 1 week ago yesterday. And I want to let you guys know, on the website, we have like almost 900 entrants. If you're a paid subscriber of Twitch TV, you're automatically entered and you get an increased chance of winning that contest as a way for me of giving back to you for being a paid subscriber. But at any point, if there's a point when I need people to help support me in a time when I know there's going to be slow downtime, this is the time right now. 2 weeks, I'm not going to be able to make videos for you. When I come back, it's going to be all filler content because there's no new games till the end of the month with Amazing Spider-Man, and there's one other one that I keep forgetting that's at the very end of this month. So at least come the end of April and into May will be good, but as for right now, there's nothing I can do about it. My hands are tied. I'm not going to be here, then I'm going to come back and there's no new games, okay? So, if you've been contemplating it, if you've put off and said I'm waiting for the right time to do it, now is the best time to do it because you get the maximum benefits out of becoming a paid subscriber to Twitch right now, and you help directly support me at a month when I know my views are going to be low and I know that there's not a lot going on, okay? So thanks for that. I want to say thank you to everyone for being so supportive. I want to say thank you to those of you who already are paid subscribers or those of you who just watch my content on a regular basis. I am very appreciative of that, okay? So that's the bottom line. That's what's going on as of gameplay-wise, all right? Now, what I want to do right now is take a a moment to talk a little bit about gaming news. There's two big news stories in gaming news that I really, really want to talk about. And then what I'm going to do is take a break. And when we come back from the break, then we're going to have the segment talking about the actual trip coming this week, the actual house hunting, where I'm going, what we're doing, etc., etc., etc. And we'll see, how much information I can reveal here to you so that you guys are in the know on what's going on, how I'm going to be covering it, because we will be covering the whole trip, etc. And then we'll probably take a break after that, and then we'll have live callers, all right? So, the very first story that I want to talk about that was in the news this week, that was a big one, huge one, everyone's talking about it now, is that Oculus Rift has been purchased by Facebook. Now, if you're not in the know on what Oculus Rift is, it's this indie project. It really is, in every essence, an indie project. It's not like a huge company was backing it or anything. It is the development of a set of VR glasses to go around your head so that game developers can develop their games for a VR environment. It's basically like an ultra-wide screen when you think about it, and to basically make virtual reality become a real thing. We've had so many attempts at it in the past. We've had sci-fi series where people do it all the time, but it's never become a realistic reality, a consumer product that you could buy and actually have in, to accentuate your gaming experience. It just has not ever existed. And so, finally, Oculus Rift was announced. It was announced as a, one of these, I don't know if it was on Kickstarter, but it was one of these crowdfunding campaigns where people said, this sounds good. This looks like these guys know what they're doing. Finally, some serious people who are interested in this, not some quacks. And they all tossed their money at the project. Now, over the course of the project, John Carmack became involved. If you don't know who that is, he is basically the grandpappy of first-person shooters. John Carmack was the game developer who, in the 1990s, revolutionized first-person shooter genre with games like Doom, Wolfenstein. I believe he worked on Hexen, but I'm not 100% on that. Later on, went on to work on other things. Unfortunately, his game Daikatana, which people thought was going to be like the holy grail of FPS games, ended up being a development hell mess. Well, basically, this guy's been involved with the gaming industry all along, so he knows what he's doing. And he said he wanted to get involved in this project, and he was. He was actually one of the people involved developing this Oculus Rift, yada, yada, yada. And so people all had high hopes, threw money at it, crowdfunded it. It's being developed. It's being developed. It takes a while. It's not an overnight process. A couple years pass or whatever. And then all of a sudden it gets announced this week, Facebook bought the whole thing. Okay? Now, admittedly, knowing Facebook, knowing that company as an entity, knowing the creative people behind the company and who controls it, you have to wonder, why did they buy it? What is their plan for Oculus Rift? Is this a good thing? Is this good news? Does this mean that now they have a major financial backer who will maybe take it seriously and really try to actively implement the Oculus Rift into, something that's interactive and fun? But the thing is, Facebook really isn't known for gaming. Yes, there are games on Facebook. Well, Farmville, Jesus, one of the biggest ones there is. But what does this mean for the Oculus Rift? Are they going to now try to change the application for it? Oh, it's not going to be for virtual reality gaming anymore. Now it's to navigate Facebook and to play Farmville on one side of the screen while you're fucking posting pictures here and flirting with girls here and doing this and that all on Facebook. And of course, does anyone really think that's going to be it? We would hope not. I mean, the potential and the scope of the project has nothing to do with looking at a social media website. That would kind of be a joke. But the other thing is, okay, all right, so big deal, right? Facebook bought them. Maybe this will be a good thing. Maybe they'll say, well, now we want to really drive this thing to market. We want to make sure that it gets done in a timely manner. We're going to have timetables of when it needs to be hit development benchmarks and what's the word I'm looking for? Milestones. That's exactly the word I'm thinking of. Milestones. Development milestones. We can say, we do it by a certain date. And maybe they're actually trying to develop, I don't know, games? Everyone's just kind of like, I don't know. It's such an oddball story that the Oculus Rift would have been bought by a social... If the Oculus Rift had been bought by Sony or bought by Microsoft or Nintendo or a third-party dev, Konami, any one of those, it would have made infinitesimal, way more sense. way more sense than what's going on right now. And everyone's just kind of like scratching their head like, we don't know. Now, what about the people who crowdfunded this thing, right? What if Facebook says, well, screw it, it's not a gaming device anymore? Does that mean the people who crowdfunded it expecting it to be a gaming device are now fucked? You know what I mean? Like, what is the legality of crowdfunding? If there was a contract there between the company developing this product and the people who funded it, if they get bought out by another company and they change their minds on what the product is, does that violate the crowdfunding contract? Or is there no contract? Is all these websites, Kickstarter and all this stuff, just bullshit and we're all just fooling ourselves, tossing money at projects with absolutely no guarantee we'll ever get anything back? You know what I mean? It's pretty wild, and it's pretty much a gray area. Now, the other the other interesting thing that's related to this story, this isn't the second news item I'm talking about, but is related to this story. Sony is developing their own kind of Oculus Rift. I believe they're calling it Project Morpheus. I could be wrong, but I think that's what they're calling it. And how interesting that Sony saw this Oculus Rift and didn't make a move on it, or maybe they did. This is what people are speculating. Maybe the reason Sony's making their own is because they made a move, and Oculus Rift said no because we've got a bigger buyer over here offering us more money, and maybe it was Facebook all along. So wow, what crazy kind of behind-the-scenes stuff is going on with technology and gaming right now? We don't know. But Sony is now kind of focusing, apparently, behind the scenes on this Project Morpheus thing. What is it? How is it going to be integrated into Sony games? Who knows? Okay? But this does tie directly into the second news story that I want to talk about. What the hell is going on at Sony? Because this past several months, there's been all these rumors and shakeups and layoffs at major development studios at Sony. And now, just this week, it was announced. If you could believe this, just blew my mind when I heard this. The lead director, and I believe the creative director, basically the two top people involved with Uncharted 4, quit Naughty Dog. Whoa, that is tremendously huge at a time period when right now Sony's doing well selling consoles, but they need to start selling games. And really what we've been saying all along is there have been no real system sellers for either next generation console. There have been some okay, mediocre games, but nothing that's going to say, I got to run out and buy that console right now. You would think Uncharted 4 would be that game. That Uncharted 4 would have been the one where it's like, okay, this is the big one. This is the one where, you know, you're going to buy the console for it. It's the continuation of Uncharted, but it's got better graphics, you know. And the people who are in charge of the project leave mid-development. Just let me give you some perspective. I think it was I saw someone in the chat that said it was the director and the writer. Okay? The director and the writer of the Uncharted series. What if you were making a movie about anything? Let's say we're making a movie about, I'm trying to think of something that, like, is popular but didn't have a movie made about it. The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead's hyper popular. People know the TV series is great. They're going to make a movie, right? Midway through development of the movie, the writer and the director quit the project. Doesn't that leave the movie dead in the water? Sure, there are people who are working on smaller things, but the whole creative oversight of your project just left. Now what the fuck do? You're left with your dick in your hand, right? So, what's going on over at Sony? In just recent months, just recently, a few months ago, Sony Santa Monica, which is the studio that puts out the God of War series, laid off a bunch of people out of nowhere, supposedly, seemingly. And this might be speculation, but there's heavy rumors that a game that they were developing is now scrapped. Now, it's just rumor speculation. I don't know what the game was, you know what I mean? But this is what people are talking about in the media, is that what is happening behind the doors of Sony. The biggest instance of this is probably Drive Club, okay? So for those of you who don't know, Drive Club was so heavily hyped at E3 last year. Oh my God, look at these visuals. Look, it has this unique thing that's so different from, you know, any other driving game. It's got all these cool features. And they announced it at E3. This was going to be the game you get for free when you buy your PS4 and you become a PS Plus subscriber. And people were ecstatic. They were like, this looks great. This looks like a AAA title that we're going to get for free for being a PS Plus subscriber. What an incentive to buy the PS4, right? And so, you know, people reserved the PS4, whatever. Literally a couple weeks before the PS4 launches, it's announced, oh, by the way, Drive Club indefinitely delayed. You know, we'll give you more details later. So now they gave us a different game at launch, which was Contrast, which was nowhere near as good of what a AAA title Drive Club looked like it was going to be. A couple months after that, they announced, the studio that's developing Drive Club announces that, I guess the head guy who was in charge of it quit. Right? Then you find out they say, we're starting from scratch. We've decided to completely start the game over from scratch. What? You had builds of this game at E3 that looked good, that were wowing the crowds. What happened to this game? Really, what caused this head guy to quit? What caused them to start over? What is happening with Sony? And all these rumors and rumblings that Sony's financials are looking awful, that maybe they really were, even though they're selling the hell out of the PS4, which is great, they're putting themselves in the home. There's not a lot of profit on PS4. So you guys know, I don't know how much you guys know about console development or you know about sales or whatever, okay? Consoles traditionally, especially at launch, are sold at a loss. What I mean by that is Sony right now is selling the PS4 for $399. That doesn't mean that they're making any profit. They could be making little to no profit. Now, I don't know what the actual development cost of a PS4 is. I don't think anyone knows yet. But just imagine that. Imagine that Sony, all right, we made the better console. Microsoft really fucked up last year with that whole debacle with the stupid always online and the DRM and all the anti-gamer policies. And we're going to use this to secure ourselves in the #1 spot this console generation. And they slipped it right in there. Everyone pre-ordered the PS4. You still can't find the PS4. If you just want to go to a store and buy one, you can't. You have to actually wait until they get a new shipment and try to be there when the new shipment comes in to be one of the first people to buy it before they sell out again. They're flying off the freaking shelves. The problem is Sony's not making money on any of that. They need to make money on software. And when you have no killer app, when you have no game that everyone must buy on their PS4, that's a major freaking problem. And that's what I think is going on with Sony right now. Yeah, there's games. Infamous Second Son probably sold decently well. We don't know yet because it's too soon to have sales numbers. But quite honestly, how do we know if Sony's making any money on this thing? You know what I mean? And I don't think there's ever been a time in gaming history when a company has been so ahead of, when you think about market leadership, the fact that the PS4 is selling so well and it's ended up in every home, but they're not making money. What happened there? That's a big disparity. You can't have, we're the leaders and we're not profitable. That's just unacceptable. Like, what on earth is going on behind the doors at Sony? So you've got a company that's unprofitable. You've got all the major development studios that work for this company are falling apart at the seams. You got people leaving left and right. And let me clarify something. I believe that one of the people who left, who was one of the heads of Naughty Dog, he left to go work for the company that made League of Legends, Riot Games. Now, League of Legends is fucking huge. Let's face it. It's the #1 streamed thing on all of Twitch TV. It's one of the biggest tournament games in the world, if not the biggest tournament game in the world. So, admittedly, you might even see that. Even though he's working for a AAA studio that's going to make the system seller for PS4, working for Riot Games may be a step up. Who knows, right? But that's what I'm saying. I don't want to make this seem like he just jumped ship and he's now bagging food or something because he just didn't want to work there. There's some weird stuff going on behind the scenes. And, what is happening really at Sony? No one really has an answer. No one at Sony is really speaking out about these things. How could so many people be getting laid off? How could projects be getting delayed and canceled, starting a project completely over from scratch when it looked like it was almost done at E3? There's some really wild and fishy stuff going on when it comes to this. And I don't know what it is. Hopefully, by the end of this year, we'll have a better idea. Because here's the thing. Tell me one console exclusive game for PS4 that's a must-have and is coming out this year. I hear crickets. Because there is none. Even the only real game that you can really... Okay, PS4 exclusive. The Order, right? Whatever it is, 1886, 1883, whatever it is. There's no guarantee. There's no release date. So we don't know that's coming out this year. So really, what is there coming out this... Nothing. So what is Sony going to make money on? They need to make money, and they have no exclusive games coming out to make money on, and this could be a big problem. So, that's pretty much it for gaming news this week. Not anything else major going on. What I'd like to do right now is to take a short break to rest my voice, to get more water, because I'm actually almost out of water. When we come back, segment 2 is going to be all about house hunting, the process I've been through up to this point, where I'm going from here, what we're doing this week when we go house hunting, where we're going. I'm going to finally reveal it. I'm going to tell you about all of our plans, and it's going to be exciting. And I hope that you will come back, especially if you ever plan in your life to buy a house. You're probably going to learn a shitload of stuff, okay? So I'm going to take a short break. If you're watching this on Twitch TV, please just hang in there. I'm going to run a few ads. If you're watching this on YouTube, no need to wait for the commercial break. I'm going to put a timestamp in the video. Click on the timestamp. Jump right ahead to the next segment, okay? Thanks, everyone. I'll be right back.
acquired, destroy, destroy, destroy.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. This is the second segment of Hate Live for April 1st, 2014. And no, this is not an April Fool's joke. All right, so this segment, what I'd like to do is focus in on what's currently going on in my life right now, which is house hunting. And what I'll do is I'll give a little bit of background as to why I am currently in the search for a new home. I'll explain to you the process that I have done up to this point, what I'm currently at right now, and what we're looking to do coming this week with this trip, which we will be documenting, and going from there, what the next steps are, okay? So let me explain. I have lived here in this condo in Connecticut since the summer of 2009, and it's documented. If you actually go back and look at my original vlogging channel, The King of Hate HD, I documented the whole process of moving in, having people over all the time playing video games, whether it was a Street Fighter, which it was a lot of the time, or whether it was something else, doing playthroughs, doing content for YouTube. You know, this is way before I ever was doing it as a way to support myself. It was just a hobby at that point. And this place, for what it was, served its purpose and did a good job. This kind of place is very small. I think it's only about, when it comes down to 600 to 700 square feet, so very small square footage wise, okay? It only has several. You have the living room, the kitchen, which is part of the living room. It's this open concept. The bathroom and the bedroom. And, you know, closets and a back porch. That's it, right? No office, no spare bedroom, no spare bathroom. It's incredibly small. And honestly, when I moved in, it was empty. This place had nothing in it. Now, I'm surrounded by models, figurines, boxes, capture equipment, computers, consoles, headphones. Everywhere I look, there's a fucking wire or something here. And the bottom line is, for what I am doing with my business, for what I have plans to do in the future, this place has unfortunately outgrown its usefulness. And it's good. I mean, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that I've been doing more interesting things, better things, you know, upping the quality of what I do to the point where now I've outgrown where I am, okay? And admittedly, the bottom line is that I did buy too much shit. I bought too much crap. Let's face it. Look at all that. Look at all this crap. Look. Look at all that crap. Pick up my mic. I bought too much. Here's what happened. When I moved in, this was the very first opportunity, the very first time that I owned my own place. And I got excited. Look at all this crap. Look at all this crap. Everywhere. Oh, let's go to the right. Look at all the paintings. Look at this. All the boxes. These are all empty boxes from those figurines to put them in. And joystick boxes. Crap. It's too much. All right, let me get the camera back to where it's supposed to be. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that. Okay. So, the bottom line is I bought too much. I got excited. This was the very first time where I had my place to myself. I've lived outside of, say, my parents' house before. I had my own apartment. I shared it with two other roommates. It was a 3-bedroom apartment at one point. I lived there for a year. I've lived on campus at college. But this is the very first time in my life that I was going to live by myself. And when I first moved here, let's face it, I was a bachelor. You know what I mean? I didn't have a girlfriend. So I had money. I started making YouTube money, and all of a sudden the money was coming in. I was like, wow, this is more money than I've ever made before in my life. And I'm supporting myself, and I'm able to pay off my bills. And, you know, I had a little bit of extra money here and there. And I said, I'll throw it towards a cool statue. And I remember the very first one I bought was this Hulk right here, which you probably saw as I was panning around, the Hulk statue. It looked amazing. And I said, I just want to get it for myself and see if I get this statue, what it looks like. And the thing showed up, and I was like, oh my fucking God, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I got to get it more. And that, it went nuts. And I went nuts, and I bought too much shit, okay? I actively will admit I bought way too much. Now, I was hoping that at some point when I lived here, I was going to get storage because we actually have a basement in this condo facility where it used to be storage area, but they don't let us use it anymore because there were all kinds of problems with mold and leaking bathrooms dripping into it and people just leaving shit down there and never going back for it. And they don't let us down there anymore. So I was supposed to have storage space. I never got it. Basically, I never got something I was promised when I moved in here in 2009. And so, over the years, you know, you'll see, if you go back and you watch my original content of me filming around here, how different the place looked then. Back then, it felt like it was big, it was spacious. Now it's just like, I gotta get out of here, right? The main reasons that I need to leave Connecticut as soon as possible are, number one, more space for my business. Right now, unfortunately, all my work shit is behind the camera right now on the opposite side of my living room. It's a horrendous mess. There's no cable management. There's no power management. It's just a horrible patched together Frankenstein mess. It's a miracle that it works and that I'm doing this with you guys and there's no problems. Seriously, it's a miracle because there's so much shit over there, right? And I need a formal office where I can take the time to have the space, to do it the right way, to have the right kind of setup that I should have had from day one, but I didn't because I rushed into doing direct capture and streaming last year because I was afraid of my business kind of just being upended. And, you know, I need it. I need it at this point. Number two, I need more space for other things. I have these series I've had in my head for months now that I've wanted to do, and I can't because I don't have filming locations to do anything. I have no filming locations to film jack shit. So I really need more space. And if I had a house with an office, with a back porch, with a, you know, a family room, a garage, and I have all these different areas, I could finally do new stuff that I want to do. Okay? The number two big reason. Connecticut is too effing expensive. I am paying out the ass for taxes. Out the ass. More than 1/3 of what I make in a year goes to taxes. Okay? Thank goodness that because I'm self-employed that I get to write so many things off of my taxes. Because last year, let me give you some perspective. I spent, if I remember correctly, I don't want to throw a number out there because I'm not 100%. I spent a ton of money on whether it was video games, new consoles, the new equipment to stream, including headphones and all that, travel expenses for all the travel that I did last year. Remember, I went on several different trips that were all usually for gaming when it comes to like SGC and stuff like that. Things that are a result of me being self-employed, such as my health insurance, which is tremendously expensive, as in it's $500 a month. I shit you not, it costs me $500 a month to have my own health insurance. It's absolutely out of control, but it's necessary. It's a necessary evil. Let's put it that way. I put an immense amount of money every year into the business, and that is not taxable, thank God, but I'm still paying way too many taxes, okay? And it was funny because I just did my taxes. I just did them. And as I completed them, what happens is I send all the data to my accountant. He puts all the data together and he sends me a packet. And the packet basically tells me a few things. Number one, it tells me, do you owe the government anything for last year? Did you not pay them enough? Okay. Number two, it tells me if that's not the case, if you overpaid, how much did you overpay? And how's that going to be applied to the next year's taxes? And then number three, it says, here's how much money you owe the government. And you're like, wait a minute. You just had sections 1 and 2 that said I overpaid. How do I owe the government money? And the answer is because guess what? The government, if you're self-employed, expects you to pay your taxes right away. That's right. Your first tax payment has to come in April. What the fuck? You know, you can't even give me a break? Nope. Pay us in April. So I did my taxes. I don't owe anything. Oh, by the way, first payment's due for the next year. Well, there goes like $6,000. I shit you not. It's like $6,000 out of my pocket. Now that's money that could be going directly to the move, and it goes to the taxes for the government. What does the government do with my money? Why is the government not accountable for showing me what they do with my money? Doesn't matter. Gone. Okay? So I just did all that, and I've literally found out that there are some states, there's no income tax, the cost of living is tremendously lower than what it is where I live here in this northeastern United States. The weather is better than it is here, okay? And just a bunch of positive factors. The homes are much cheaper for big-ass houses. And I'm like, why am I living here? Let me give you guys some perspective. When I moved into this condo, very condo right here where I'm living, I bought this in 2009 for about $130,000, all right? Keep in mind, that was on my old salary, on my old office job. That was before I was making YouTube, any money on YouTube or anything like that. 130 grand for this unit, I believe. So, right now, we're looking at houses all across the country. There's 3 particular places we're looking. Florida, Texas, and Washington. We're finding houses for $200,000 that are 2 to 3 times the size of this place. So we're talking less than double the price, double to triple the amount of space. And the other thing is, the taxes on those properties are the same taxes I pay here on this place. I pay the same tax here on this tiny condo that I would pay if I bought a giant house somewhere else. So it's absolutely out of control. It's out of control. And so I started thinking to myself these past couple of years. I said, I would really like to get my back fixed. If you guys don't know, I have a major back injury in my lower back. Luckily, the good news is, everyone, for the past 6 months, the back injury has been good. The back injury has not had much pain at all. Most of the time, I'm not even thinking about it because it's not bugging me. So that's the good news, right? But a major herniated disc like what I have doesn't just go away. Basically, you have to change your life to accommodate for it or get surgery. I've contemplated getting the surgery for years. The problem is I live alone, and I can't live alone and get the surgery because you are immobile for weeks after the surgery. I would need to live with someone to help me get through it. My girlfriend can't move in here. This place is too effing small. So the bottom line is I need to move before I can get this surgery done. And I did some soul searching, and I said, why am I really here? Realistically, outside of the fact that John Rambo comes and does co-op in person with me every, couple weeks or week when he can make it, and I see my parents, what else is there here for me? There's no business tying me here, right? There's no, you know what I mean? It's not like there's some significant reason that I need to stay in Connecticut. I could literally go to anywhere in the world and do what I do as long as my internet is good and make the same amount of money but pay less if the place is cheaper to live. So my focus has been to find somewhere where the cost of living is significantly less than where I am now. And people are like, oh, but Phil, the places you've named, the cost of living is high. No, it's not. Not compared to what I'm paying now. And that's what people don't understand. I'm in one of the highest cost of living places in the entire country. The state of Connecticut is one of the highest. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely overblown because there's no fucking reason for it. We don't have anything amazing in Connecticut. You know what it is? It's because, here's why. It's because there's a certain areas of Connecticut that are very ritzy. They're off in the hills. They're gated communities. One of them is called Greenwich, where all movie stars and celebrities and multi-billionaires came and lived there. And because of that, they drove the net income of the state up, which drove up the taxes, which drove up gas prices, which drove up this, which drove up that. So literally the common person in Connecticut is paying incredibly high taxes and prices because a small group of elitist, really rich assholes decided to move to the state too and drove all the fucking prices up. What am I benefiting? The only reason I could see benefiting from staying in Connecticut is if I was the kind of person that needed to get into and out of New York City on a daily basis. This is a prime commute location. You could just jump on a train. Within 90 minutes, I'm in the city. But I don't, and I've lived here my whole life, and I've gone to the city. I've been there, done that. There's no reason for me to be here anymore. And that's primarily the reason why I got to get the fuck out of Connecticut, okay? So, what I've tried to do, and this was the smart thing that I did these past few years, my goal, since I started working full-time and making money on YouTube, was to, number one, get rid of all of my bad debt. And when I say bad debt is debt, for example, a massive amount of money on a credit card. A loan that you've had out for 5 billion years and just never paid off. You're just whittling away at it. Basically get rid of all that bad debt because that would start driving up my credit score. And I know the higher your credit score, the better chance you are that a bank will like you and grant you a loan so you can buy a house. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up, when I started, doing this on YouTube, okay, I'm going to pay off all of my bad debt, and then I'm just going to start putting money in the bank. And that's literally what I've done. You don't see me, driving a yacht, wearing super expensive fancy clothes. I'm wearing a shirt from Old Navy right now, for God's sake. You know what I mean? That's the kind of person I am. I'm the kind of person that regardless of how much money I ever make in my life, I'm always going to be the same kind of person. I'm not going to change and become a lifestyles of the rich and famous kind of person. It's never going to happen. By the way, I don't make anywhere near that kind of money anyway. But I'm just saying, even if I won the lottery tomorrow, I wouldn't go buy a mansion and buy this and buy that. That's not the kind of person I am. I like to live a certain kind of lifestyle. And that's the kind of lifestyle I've lived while I was here. And so I was smart and I saved up a lot of money. Okay? So now I'm in a position that these past few years, I've got money in the bank. I've got some money saved away for retirement, even though it's not a lot. I've saved, some money is set away for retirement. And I've got a great credit score. In fact, if you guys can believe it, I've got one of the best credit scores I've ever heard of. I couldn't believe it when I got it. I actually got the credit report in the mail today, if you can believe it. So, most people who, the credit score, you might not know anything about a credit score. I'm not going to get into the technical aspects of it, okay? I'm just not. Because if I did, you'd be like, what the fuck, all right? And I know a lot about it because I used to be a loan officer, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to tell you my credit score. Let me just put it this way. My credit score is astronomical. Like, it's almost the best. It's like one step away from the best credit score. And, I was incredibly pleased with that, right? So, after all these years of saving up money, paying off my bad debt, which, by the way, I have paid it all off now, and getting my credit score up, I now felt I was finally in the position to go ahead and try to look for a house. And let me explain the process, because when you hear the freaking process of doing this, you need to obviously contact a realtor, okay? And I did. I contacted realtors for two reasons. Number one, I said I want to look for a house. And number two, I want to try to sell this place. And it's hilarious because here's what happens. I send out the emails and I say, now understand something. My place is incredibly cluttered. There's no way that I could sell this place until I move because I have nowhere to put all this shit. And you can't sell a house when it looks like this. It looks like shit. The people are going to come in and see 100 computers all around. You can't even see the walls of the fucking place. There's no way I could sell this unit as is. I couldn't even take a picture. So forget about that. Let's focus on looking for a house first, and then I'll look on selling the condo. I got fucking phone calls, emails, letters. Are you going to sell? Are you looking to sell? Sell, sell, sell. I said, what don't you understand? My initial email said, yeah, eventually, but not now. But this is it. They hear what they want to hear, and especially when a market is hot. Sell, sell, sell. You want to sell, sell. I had a guy who called me back like 2 weeks after I sent my first email. I really don't understand this, Phil. You contacted me. And you won't respond. It's like, oh, I just like this. Oh. These fucking people. They're like sharks. They smell the blood. So, what do you do in order to prepare to look for houses? Well, here's what you do. First of all, you need to make a list of things. You have to have two separate lists, actually. One list has to be what you absolutely 100% require in order to move to this place, The other list is nice things to have. So for me, one of the things I absolutely need, I need at least a 2-bedroom house because that way I can have a bedroom to sleep in and an office to do my work. If I can't have that, the deal's off the table. I cannot live in a 1-bedroom place. I can't. I need the space to do my work, okay? That's kind of a deal breaker. Another one would be washer and dryer have to be able to be in the house. There's a lot of these places where, there's a laundry room somewhere where you can go, or there's a laundromat nearby. No, I can't do that because of my back. Because of my back, I can't be lugging laundry to and fro. It needs to be in my house. I can do my laundry. That's a deal breaker. If there's no laundry in the house, I can't live there. Okay? What is an example of some optional things that would be nice, but I don't necessarily need to have them? A 3-bedroom house. Now, if it's a 3-bedroom house, now think of the possibilities. I could have an office and maybe a room where my girlfriend can do her arts and crafts, or she could have her own kind of office room where if she wanted to try to do her soap making as a business at some point, she has somewhere where she has space to do it rather than trying to cram up the kitchen or something like that. Or if it's not a 3-bedroom house, maybe a 2-bedroom house with a spare room. Now you can use that spare room for storage, for filming, for whatever you need. You know what I mean? The possibilities are endless when you have that extra space. But that's not a deal breaker. If I find a great house with only 2 bedrooms, the price is right, and everything else is perfect, I might go for it versus waiting out for the 3-bedroom or the 2-bedroom with an extra room style of house. So these are all the kinds of things you need to consider, right? One thing, obviously, that's like a major necessity for me is the internet. What is the internet that's available at these places? And what I actually found out is that for this first location we're going to be going house hunting at, which I'm going to reveal soon. I know I'm building up suspense here. The place we're going to be house hunting at actually is supported by Verizon Fios. Verizon Fios is actively available in these areas, and I'll be able to get it. And Verizon Fios, not the crap internet, the fast one, the fiber optic internet that's fast as shit, and it will be able to support the speeds that I need to do to live stream and do my work. So, that's a good thing. What else? For me, one of the major things that's kind of a deal breaker is what kind of an area is the house in, because think about it this way. It's a great house, has all the space in the world, right? Everything's perfect, but it's across the street from the airport. So as I'm trying to do my work every day, non-stop planes. And I can't pay to soundproof the whole fucking building, so that would be a deal breaker. So that's going to be another thing. We're going to these areas that we've pointed out and singled out, looking around the areas to see what are the neighborhoods like, what's the local businesses in the area, what is going on in these areas. It could be the best house in the world, it could be in a bad area, and then it's not worth it to go there, okay? What else? So once you have your list of things that you want, then you can start to look and see what is available in certain areas, right? That is for what you want, and you get to see an estimated price range for what you're looking for. And that's kind of the key, is having an estimated price range of what you may be looking for, because then the next big step, and this is the step that could be a tremendous hassle, is going to the bank. Going to the bank, depending on who's helping you, can be either the nicest, easiest experience you've ever had in your life, or the most fucking nail-biting nightmare you've ever experienced in your life. Because some banks just don't get it. And I'm going to tell you a story, because this is literally a true story that just happened to me. So, I currently am a customer of Bank of America. I have several accounts there, including, checking, savings, even a credit card, not a mortgage, but I actually have some retirement funds and things with them. I got a ton of accounts with them. Tons. They've made tons of money off of me, trust me, of my money being in their banks all the time. So all that's there, right? And so I say it's a no-brainer. I'll go to Bank of America and see if I can get a loan. Because here's the thing. You don't go for a loan. You go what's called a pre-approval letter. What a pre-approval letter is it's basically a bank saying, we vouch for Phil. We will give him up to this much amount of money as a loan. If he finds a nice house that he wants to buy, we're willing to lend him the money for it. Okay? So, I go to Bank of America, and I call them. Where do you hear this? I call them, and I say to them, I'd like to look to possibly do a mortgage. And they say, okay, well, do we need permission to pull your credit? Yes, I give you permission to pull my credit. We need 2 years bank statements, okay? We need, not bank statements, I'm sorry. We need 2 years tax returns. We need a bank statement. We need a few things. They ask for certain amounts of information. And so I give them all the information that they need. Oh, you're self-employed. Yes, I am self-employed. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, we'll look into this. First of all, the woman that I get on the phone, I swear to you, I give all the information to this line-level person. Thank you very much for the information. I'm going to refer you to an agent. Refers me to a woman who barely speaks English. The woman is she's either Romanian or Russian or one of those European countries where her accent is so goddamn heavy that I can barely understand a word she says to me. Okay. So I'm on the phone with her, and she says, you're self-employed? Yes, I'm self-employed. What do you do? So I'm trying to explain to her what I do. I don't have a clue if what I'm saying is jiving with her at all. I don't even know if she can understand me, right? And the thing is, I could barely fucking understand her. So I give her all the information. Okay. And she says all this. Okay. And then she pulls my credit, right? And she says, okay, she's going to review all the information and get back to me. I wait a day. She finally does get back to me. Oh, Mr. Burnell, bad news. I said, okay, bad news. What's the bad news? Let's hear this. This will be a laugh riot. Well, you're self-employed, and your tax returns for 2012 show that your business made more money than it did in 2013. And because of that, per our calculations, per our formula, that means that your business is in a decline. Therefore, we're not confident in this loan. We'll give you a loan, but by the way, there's going to be a 20% required down payment. What? A 20% required down payment. Now, keep in mind, I'm looking for a house that has 2 to 3 bedrooms. You know, it's going to be probably not a super expensive house, but a decently expensive house. I don't have that much money lying around. Or if I clean out my bank account, right? I completely clean out my bank account. How am I going to afford to move? How am I going to afford to sell this place, which is going to be an expense after the fact? How am I going to afford to do all this stuff, right? That's not possible. So I'm like, you're out of your mind. 20% down payment is incredibly unreasonable. So let me get this straight. Just because I made less money one year than another in a business that will fluctuate, because it has fluctuated since day one, you're telling me that my business is in decline. And she says, well, unless you can prove otherwise. I said, absolutely I can prove otherwise. Here's what happened. Because I've actually publicly told you guys about this. You know, in 2012, I was doing really well for myself. My views were high. But that's really not the reason why there was such a decline in income. The reason was because, if you guys remember, at the end of 2012, Machinima contacted me and renegotiated my contract for less money. They basically said, listen, we've been paying everyone way too much money. Ad revenue isn't what it used to be, and we need to cut everyone's pay. And they cut my pay. And so 2013, I made less money. Was it an insanely huge less amount of money? No, it wasn't. But to the bank, all they see is there's a decline. They don't want to hear, oh, well, you took a pay cut because they were paying too much money and they couldn't afford it anymore. And really, it wasn't that there was a massive decline in your business. It was because of that you made less money. They don't want to hear any of that. All they know, here's what they've got. Let me see. Hold on. They've got a piece of paper. Grab something that looks professional here. There. This is like a nice professional mailing envelope, right? They've got a piece of paper, and on this piece of paper, there's a formula. And the formula says you take this income versus this income versus this income. You take this versus this versus this. You do this. It's black and white. And if it doesn't come to this number, the person's a bad person. You can't trust them, right? So let me get this straight. I've got a successful business. I'm self-employed. The business is successful. The business, even though it might be in a slight decline because of oversaturation, is still doing well. I'm doing better than 90% of the people in this business who are doing stuff on YouTube and making money doing it. I'm tremendously happy and happy for my success, and I'm so happy that you guys watch my content, that you're here tonight watching my content. You know, it means a lot to me. And I'm making more money now than I ever was at the old office job. But let me give you a perspective here. If I still worked that old office job, they would have approved the loan immediately. They would have taken their big green stamp and said, oh, done. And here's why. Because they think that someone who works in an office with a salary job has a more steady job and a more steady income, and that there's no risk. There's little to no risk giving them a loan. But me, because I'm self-employed, oh, his business could tank at any moment, so fuck that. You know, high risk. It's ridiculous. I made so much, less money doing that stupid office job, yet they approved me for a loan for this place for $130,000. I'm looking for a loan that's not even double that, but I'm making way more money, and they won't fucking approve it. So it makes no sense, right? It makes absolutely no sense. So I basically told that woman as much. I said, what you're telling me makes no sense from anyone with a brain, and I need you to go to your underwriter and tell me what you'll approve me for. Even if it's a 20% down payment, you go tell me what you'll approve me for, okay? So obviously I'm upset. I'm upset about it. And, you know, I say enough of this. I'm not going to try another major bank. I get the feeling they're all going to treat me the same way. So I go to the realtor, and I say, listen, you're a realtor. You deal with these people all the time. Do you know anyone who might actually understand someone self-employed, how it works, and maybe, you know, actually give me a fair shake instead of just writing me off as some kind of a risky person? And she says, okay, hold on. And she gives me contact information from this other bank. Now, this other bank is an independent bank. It's a very much smaller bank, and I'm pretty sure what they do is they'll do the mortgage, they'll hold it for a year or two, then they're probably going to sell it to another bank anyway. This is what happens with these mortgages all the time. You get a mortgage, they immediately sell it to someone else, and whoever you dealt with, even if you love them, you'll never hear from them again. I know, and it's a sad state of business. There's no personal attention given to anybody anymore. It's a joke. So, I work with this independent company. I send them the same exact information, literally the same information that I sent Bank of America. I explain to them the situation of what happened, why there was a decline in the business that one particular year. And they look at all the information and they say, Phil, here you go. You're approved up to a certain amount. Now, ideally, I'll be honest with everyone, it wasn't the highest amount that I was highballing for. It was kind of a middle range amount that they said that I could be approved for. And it's fine because really when I started looking at the houses realistically, most of the ones that I'm finding are actually almost on the lower end of what I was getting approved for. So realistically, it works out. But literally night and day from Bank of America. Didn't give me any shit. Didn't, you know, oh, Phil, no, you know, this is bad. 20% down payment. They didn't even mention anything like that. They just did their work. Contacted the underwriter. The underwriter is the person who's actually responsible for approving the risk and saying, yes, I will write this loan if it comes to it. And within, you know, 2-3 days, I had my approval. So what kind of a different freaking experience is it to go with a bank that all they do is mortgages and they understand about this stuff versus Bank of America who does savings, checking, other small loans, car loans, retirement funds, IRAs, credit cards. So because they're so over bloated, they're a jack of all trades but a master of none. They know how to do the general stuff of anything, but if you get any kind of a special situation like mine where I'm self-employed, oh, we can't handle that. That's too much risk. 20% down payment. So fucking ludicrous, right? So anyway, let me go put this back. So anyway, I get the pre-approval letter that basically says, all right, you're good to go. You can go house hunting, and you're approved up to this amount. So you look for stuff within this range. And even now, it's not over. Even though this bank's better, it's still not over. For example, I've narrowed it down. I think it's about 9 houses that we're going to be looking at. And out of those 9 houses, most of them are in the lower end price range of what we were approved for. So we're probably going to be good. But then all of a sudden, I literally, as I was about to start the podcast, I shit you not, got an email from the woman from the bank. Well, Phil, just so you know, our calculations were based off of a place with very, very low dues. So if you move into a condo where the condo association has charges that are high, this may be a recalculation of it, and it may affect it. And I emailed her back. I said, don't worry about it. I know, you know, I used to be in the mortgage business. When I was looking at these houses, what I did is I figured out, based off of the mortgage, I figured out what the monthly payments would be. I added in the taxes per month, and I added in the condo fees per month, and I still found out it was an amount that was within the approved amount that I had discussed with this woman previously. So it worked out. It's looking like we're green, you know, green light to move ahead and to go house hunting this week. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. I know I've bored you with the technical aspect, but I hope that for some of you, especially if you're young adults, you're coming into that age where one day, you know, you're going to be looking for a place. That kind of process just gave you a little bit of information on what you have to go through so you know what to have before you try to step up to the plate and do anything with this kind of stuff, okay? So this week we're going, and basically I think there's 9 houses we want to see. We don't know yet if we can see them all. I have to call the realtor tomorrow and have a conversation with her. She's only available this weekend. So she's only available on Saturday and Sunday for us to do stuff with her, okay? So that's what we're going to try to figure out. But this now, come to find out, because we're only going to be looking at houses for 2 days, this means that we're going to have 3 whole days in the area, whether we drive around the areas where we're looking for houses or we actually go into the main city, which now I'm going to reveal, ladies and gentlemen, the first place we're looking. This may not be the place we moved to. We're just house hunting right now. But the first place that we've decided to look to house hunt for our new home is just outside of beautiful Bangladesh. No, I'm kidding. No. Outside of Seattle, Washington. That is right. Seattle, Washington. Not in Seattle. Outside, on the outskirts of Seattle, where prices are a little lower, things are a little calmer, traffic's a little bit better. That's what we're looking at right now. There's a few major reasons why I considered Seattle and Washington State as one of my prime areas for looking. Number one, prices are much lower than they are here in Connecticut. Overall, if you look at prices in stores, price of gas, general things, much lower overall. So immediately I'll be saving money. Number two, there's no state income tax at all. None. Zero. So right there, the thousands of dollars that I'm paying to Connecticut and on a yearly basis here, they'll be in my pocket. They'll be in my pocket, which is great. Number three, the fact that, like I said, at least in this place that I'm looking, is great internet. Seattle is known as a hip, happening kind of modern place. Younger people, especially Microsoft, is there, or like right outside of Seattle. So it's known for that. And so the internet there is pretty good, especially with like I said, with Yahoo, not the Yahoo, what am I talking about? The Verizon Fios. I can't speak English. Verizon Fios is really good in that area. I've seen ratings for it. Everyone says it's incredible, and you can get it in that area, okay? And there's a major city that from all accounts is a great city. I've actually have family who lived there all their life. My aunt lived there just outside. She actually lived to the west of Seattle in Bremerton. Bremerton, Washington is where she lived for a long, long time. She absolutely loved it. She says, the only thing about it is the rain. Yes, they get a lot of rain in Seattle. They absolutely do. But here's the thing. This is what people don't understand. This is what I love. The grass, you got to remember something. The grass is always greener on the other side, okay? So, if you live in Seattle, it rains all the time. I can't take it. It's so dreary and depressing. Listen, the reason it rains all the time in Seattle is because they have a moderate climate, which means that the climate does not vary very much during the course of the year. It has maybe, at most a 30 to 40 degree fluctuation where it maybe goes from 20 degrees up to say 60, 70 degrees when it's warm. It's not that big of a change, okay? The reason they get so much rain is because during the winter, when everyone else in the country is getting loaded with buckets of fucking snow, it's warm in Seattle, so they just get rain. Compare that with Connecticut, where we get as high as over 100 degrees, and we go below zero, so more than double the temperature range of Seattle area. We get incredibly hot, humid fucking weather in the summer, unbearable. You need to have your air conditioner blasting. We get incredibly, bone-chillingly cold snow and sleet and ice and feet of it in the winter. Tell me where the benefit is to live in Connecticut. Seriously, someone show me fucking something. I can't find it. You know what I mean? Sure, okay, so I'll move to a place where it rains all the time, but I'll be able to walk outside in the summer and fucking breathe. I'll be able to walk outside in the winter and fucking move, not be frozen in snow. So, that's some of the primary reasons why we're considering Seattle, okay? We are, and don't get me wrong, this is not, okay, we're moving there definitively, that's it. We're going to go out there. We're going to see what we find. We're going to look at these houses. We're going to see if there's any house that looks like this could be it. It has the rooms that we want, the space that we want, features that we like, things that we like about the house, okay? And if we find that, then the next step would be to tell the realtor. The realtor will then talk to the bank. The bank then has to actually draw the loan, approve the loan for me. And then once the loan is approved, then we go and make an offer on the house, which means that we're actually putting down our money and saying, listen, here's what we'd offer to pay on this house. We negotiate a little bit. We go back and forth with the sellers. Maybe we try to get something out of them, go for a little bit less, or maybe have them pay the closing costs, so that way I don't end up spending an additional $10,000 to get this whole thing done with. And then, if that works, then we got to get a lawyer. The lawyer will draw up the legal documents on my side. I sign. Then that goes to the bank, then that goes to the sellers has to go to them, they sign, and then finally once all that's done, then we sign on the dotted line, the house is legally mine, and I can move out there. But that process takes months. So even if I find the perfect house, chances are it's April now, probably not till June or July where we'll be seriously ready to start the process of closing and moving in. But think about that. That could be the perfect time because the summer is traditionally when it is the slowest for gaming. And in fact, this summer, coming up, I can tell you right now, looking at my calendar, hold on. There's really, especially for focusing on the month of July, there's one game the first week of July, Sniper Elite of version 3, and there's one game the last week of July, Tales of Exilia 2. And there's like nothing between it. Now, there might be new games announced between now and then, but as of right now, there's nothing going on in July. So that would be the perfect time to start a move, all right? So that's what we're looking at when it comes to the situation with this trip coming up this week. Now, the cool thing is, we're going to be bringing our cameras. I have my camcorder. I have to charge it, get it all ready. My girlfriend's going to be bringing her camera, and we're going to do vlogs while we're out there, okay? We're going to be making vlogs. We're going to be uploading those. I'm going to be uploading them to the King of Hate vlogs. I don't know if my girlfriend is going to wait till she gets home to do her vlogs and release them, or if she's going to try to upload them from the hotel like I am. Who knows? But that's what we're going to do. Like we do with any trip. Daily vlogs of what we did on that trip. Maybe we'll film our food and share that with you guys because you guys like to see different restaurants and stuff that we go to in the area. We'll show you our hotel room, which, by the way, I said this previously. I'll say it again. The days of overspending on stuff are over. When you're going to become a serious homeowner to a place like this, where we're going to be buying a house that's going to be expensive, moving to it, and trying to sell this place, I can't waste money on shit anymore. So I'll tell you right now, the hotel we're in is a nice hotel, don't get me wrong. We don't have a suite, and in fact, the hotel room that I got, I basically got the whole thing with points from my credit card. I couldn't even, I didn't want to spend the money on the hotel room. I just got the room that qualified for the points on the credit card. So you're not going to see, oh, Phil has a twin part going through the suite anymore. Those days are over. It was a nice when it lasted a couple years I did it. It's over now, really. Seriously, it's over. So, so, that's the deal. Now, how is it going to work? Well, you're going to have a couple days where we're house hunting. Now, when we're house hunting, I have absolutely no clue if they're going to allow me to take my camcorder into these places. I wish they would, because what I would like to ideally do is film these houses and then have that so it's documented, and when I go back and I'm considering all the houses, we can watch our video walkthroughs of them again and again to see, oh, this is what the house looks like. That's right, I remember this about it, I remember that about it, and you can actually even look at them side by side and say, which is the better option. But I don't know if they're going to allow us to do that. What I think the definitive thing here is that these are private property. They probably would allow us to film if the people are not still living in the house. So if the people have cleared out of the house and it's empty and they're trying to sell it, much like it'll be like here when I move out, this place will be clear and I'll be trying to sell it, then they'll probably allow people to walk through and film. But if you're just going to have people who are living there and their personal stuff still there, they're probably not going to allow you to film anything. So I have no idea how much they're going to allow me to film, okay? So there could literally be this coming weekend a shitload of new footage all going on the vlogs channel, or there could be almost no footage. The good news is this is going to free us up a few days next week. And so for 3 days next week, we're going to basically go to Seattle and see stuff. And there's so much fun stuff that we've seen and heard about in Seattle. We're just looking for a few hours, There's this pier, I think it's called Pike's Pier, where I've heard there's a tremendous amount of food and shops and restaurants, and just you could spend a whole day just walking through there and get lost and having a ton of fun. And it's probably going to be one day, and we'll probably film all around there. They have museums. They have an aquarium. They have a zoo. They have a great shopping district. They have theater. They have restaurants. They have everything. It's a big, major city. The Space Needle is a big one. We want to see the Space Needle because last year we actually went to what was it? I'm sorry, it's not. It is the people would love it when you call it the Sears Tower. I can't even remember what the tower's actually called now, but it's whatever that tower is. We went in there. We liked that. We want to do the Space Needle this year. I'm sure that a lot of you are going to, now that I have revealed where we're going, I'm going to start getting tweets. I'm going to start getting messages. I see I have 10 tweets right now. Holy shit. People probably saying, Phil, I live in that area, or I've been there. Here's a recommendation of what you should do. Here, here, here. And that's great. And actually, I like that. If you guys are watching this video right now, you know, we're not going to be heading out for a few more days still. Send me your tweets. Send me an email. Tell me about the cool places in Seattle and around Seattle that Leanna and I should check out during this trip, because we'll check them out and we'll film and we'll have a blast doing it. And it's cool because this trip is part business when it comes to house hunting and part pleasure, but it's still technically business, because when you think about it, we need to get a good feel for Seattle, for the surrounding areas. What if we go and we find a nice house and then we go into Seattle and I don't know, it just doesn't click, it doesn't jive, it doesn't feel right. The weather's not what we expected. Maybe we don't, I don't know, the air out here is weird to us or something. I don't know. It could be anything, but what if you go out there and I really realize I don't like it that much? Well, that was the reason for this trip. That's why we're making this trip and taking it seriously. So, that is what is going to be happening over the next week. And that's the deal. That's the skinny. I'll try to keep you guys in the know on Twitter. And also, like I said, through my daily vlogs on the King of Hate vlogs, I'll try to get everyone informed and in the know on what exactly is going on that trip on a daily basis once it begins. Okay? And that's it for that. I've talked on it en masse. I've revealed all the details. I think I've said enough. I'm excited. I'm incredibly excited. Like I've said before, I really do feel like I'm moving into a new phase of my life, a new, more professional phase of my life where we're going to have, you know, you're an adult now, you got adult problems, sure, but I'll be able to do better quality content, more series, you know, just imagine me just documenting the move of packing all this shit up, getting it ready to go, the movers coming in, getting it out, documenting all that with vlogs, going across the country, moving all the shit in, showing you the setup of how the house is once all the stuff's in there, step by step how I'm setting up my office area. It could be tremendously good. It could be tremendously fun, and I cannot freaking wait. Okay, so that is it for segment 2. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found that informative and fun. I'm going to go on a very short break here. We're going to come back and probably have about 20 minutes of live callers tonight on Hate Live, and that's going to end out the show. So thanks, everyone. If you're watching on Twitch, yet again, please stick around for the advertisements. If you're watching on YouTube, just feel free to go right ahead and click on the timestamp in the description of the video to skip forward to the final portion of Hate Live tonight. Thanks, everyone. I'll be right back. Okay, everybody. Well, whoa. Pulled the cord too hard. Things kept moving, flying here. I'm going to open up my Skype, and we're going to take some calls. We've got about 20 minutes to chat it up with people. Let me actually open up my Skype here. My Skype name is Darkside Phil, and it could be anything. It could be about the topics we talked about tonight. If you have just a random question you want to ask, anything, just shoot the shit for a tiny little bit here. Just keep in mind, I do have to try to keep the calls a little bit brief because I want to get a few people in here tonight. I'll just chat with one person for 20 minutes, okay? Oh, there we go. All right. Let's try this one. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Who am I speaking with tonight?
You know me as Rick Grimes fan in the chat. My real name is Jaden.
Okay, Jaden, how's it going?
Really good. Like, this is awesome. Like, I grew up with you, Phil. Like,
Really?
I've watched you since I was like 11 years old.
Whoa, wow. That's a long time, man.
I watched you fall through 2008. That's a long time.
Wow. It's been a long ride, man.
I know. I've grown up, I've seen you change, and like, I feel like I've changed too. I mean, you were always there to help me, Phil. Like, there would be times when I would come home, there would be no food in the house, my parents would be arguing, and I always knew that I could come home and you would be there and entertain me, and it was really awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that comment, and it's always good to know that what I'm doing is having a positive impact on others. You have anything in particular? You got a question or anything you want to mention?
I was just wondering did you ever have any like childhood icons growing up?
For me, not. Let me put it this way. When I was a small child, not really. I was always the kind of kid where when I was in school, it would be like, write an essay about this person who you idolize and who you think is like a great person. And I'd be like, this is stupid. What if I don't? What if I don't have a particular person who I focus in on and I think is the best person ever? The one person who I would say really in my life I kind of maybe draw parallels to, and I definitely think that I learned a lot from inadvertently, was actually, of all people, Howard Stern. Because this was a guy who strived to do things differently than others. And yeah, he was crazy, he was zany, he was off the wall. A lot of the times he was irreverent. People didn't, I can't believe he's pushing the boundaries of what can be done on radio. But he was entertaining at the end of the day. And it was funny because his story kind of almost parallels mine in a lot of ways, where he went from being a little grassroots nobody into almost kind of overnight success. And then all of a sudden, when he was having his overnight success, he got so much criticism. Oh, he's the devil. He does horrible things, and people would say shit about him that was just blatantly untrue, because it would just be the hearsay and stuff that they would hear. And it was funny because then he would go to them and he would say, well, then why do you listen to my show if you don't like me? And I could draw such direct parallels between that and kind of the experience of what I do as well. He's a very outspoken person. He says his mind. I'm the very same way. And in a lot of ways, I like to think that I'm a rebel. I do things differently than a lot of the other common YouTubers or internet personalities do things. And because of that, I'm going to have a lot of opposition. A lot of people who speak up and not like me. By no means am I saying, am I anywhere near as popular as Howard Stern? Absolutely not. And I never will be. And I don't want to be. I never want to get to that crazy, super uber level. I'd like to be like, right where I am now, this nice middle range where I could still be a normal person and not have my life be so massively affected by fame and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I would say him because kind of like seeing what he did in his field, doing something completely different. YouTube existed. Yeah, there were people doing Let's Plays, but someone who did Let's Plays the way I did, there really wasn't. I kind of innovated, and that's how I kind of ended up where I am today. So of all people, I'd probably say that's the one person. These days, not really that much. I can't even barely listen to his show anymore because he barely talk. He's nothing like his old self. And that's a shame. He kind of got old, and when he got old, all he does now is complain. He's like he acts just like his old. He used to make fun of his parents when he was younger. Now he acts just like them. So it is what it is, though. People change over time. So that would be probably the one person I would say that I kind of idolize a little bit.
All right, thank you, Phil. It was great talking to you.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah, me too.
Very good. All right, so I'm going to close out all these calls that were old, and we're going to try to take another caller now. So feel free to shoot me another call, anyone. There's actually tons of people trying to get through. All right, this one was first, so I'm going to click on it. Let's see.
Old. We're gonna try to take another
Hello?
caller now.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh my fucking god.
Hello, who am I speaking with?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay. Who is this? What's your name?
Oh my god. I can't believe it.
Okay.
Yes! Finally!
All right, who is this?
God, my parents are gonna be so proud.
Okay. Are you going to tell me your name?
I'm sorry. Oh my god,
All right, next caller. Since the guy doesn't want to tell me his name and he wants to just say, oh my God, repeatedly, I'm not going to talk to him. That's not the way the show works. I don't have all night. So now we'll take another caller. Hold on. I'm going to clear the board and we'll get someone new. I was going to sit there and say, oh my God, all night. Yeah, I could do that too. Oh. Ah, here's a familiar face. Hello, sir.
Hey, Phil.
How's it going, Jordan?
Well, that was kind of funny. That's
I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was if that kid was serious or if he was just acting a fool. I don't know. So
well,
it is what it is. We got a show. The show has to go on. So
that is true. Well, I wanted to sort of. I know you're coming to Washington State.
Yes.
And I wanted to tell you a few things that I know, personally, about Washington State that maybe for the Seattle area.
Very good. Very good.
First of all, when you have some of the best entertainment there, including there is, Seahawks, Mariners. There's lots of theater and such, but there also is some great museums, including the Sci-Fi and Music Museum, that have huge displays about. One's about Jimi Hendrix, a giant area about Nirvana, and all sorts of stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Yeah, I think actually you and Leanna would have a blast there.
Okay. Sweet.
And there's a lot of different chains here. Not your average stuff like Burger King and, stuff like that. There's places. I don't know if you guys have Five Guys there.
We do, but it's not as prominent as a lot of the other stuff. There's a few Five Guys around, but it's not like within driving distance that I would drive there to eat.
Right, and there's also Burgerville here, which I know is mostly a West Coast chain. Towards my area, though. But no, I also wanted to say thank you so much the other day for emailing me back and forth, trying to help me out with this whole streaming setup and such.
Yeah, so for those of you who are watching and you don't know what Jordan's talking about, he's recently started to try to do live streaming like I do, and he was having this really weird issue where the frame rate was it was choppy and he couldn't figure out. He has a PC that has great specs, so it just made no freaking sense why he was getting such a low frame rate. So I was trying to troubleshoot with him a little bit overnight, trying to figure it out. Unfortunately, I couldn't. I did every possible thing I've ever done to try to get it fixed, and I couldn't. It didn't really work. So you were telling me that you actually had to swap out a piece of equipment.
Yeah, I last night I was doing a little research the night before. And I was like, damn. Well, we couldn't figure it out, but I still, I highly appreciate the help. It was great being able to chat with you like that. But I was going through, and I was like, I've only had this capture card. And there are a bunch of different ones. So me and my friend Matt, Combat MJ, who I do videos with, he's building his own PC. And he's like, oh, I need to go get a new keyboard and mouse. Let's go to Best Buy. Okay. So we drive out there. I'm looking at the different stuff, and I see capture cards. I'm like, what? I didn't even know they sell these here. So they have the new Hauppauge Rocket, which is bare bones, very small, sleek. And then next to it is the Elgato. And, I've heard lots of jokes about the Elgato, El Ghetto, all sorts of stuff. I was like, let me do a little research, and then I might come back tomorrow night and get it. Wayne picked it up. It works great. So. But,
and what was you previously? What were you using? Was it the HDP VR2 that you were using previously?
Yeah, same as you. So it's really odd. I don't know what it could have been. It could have been one thing. It could have been another. Like you were saying, it could have been my power supply. I have no clue. But it works now, and the stream last night went okay. I finally got the delay right to 1600. So.
Okay. Yeah, like I was telling you, every capture device, literally, they're not live. They're always a tiny bit delayed when it comes to getting the video on your stream. And you have to try to time your mic along with the video, or else you might be reacting to stuff either too early or too late, and it doesn't seem natural. And so, you know, what Jordan had to do was try to figure out what is the delay that I have to set my mic to, and he must, you know, 1600 must be the magic spot.
Right. He's basically, what I had to do was go into a local recording and basically say, pressing down in 3, 2, 1, press down, and then watch the recording. I'm like, okay, a little bit higher, and I basically went by hundreds until I got to 1600. But by the way, again, I appreciate all your help. It's always great talking to you, and I just wanted to give you a few little locations about Seattle.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. Very much appreciated. We'll look into those and keep in touch.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thanks for the call.
Bye.
All right. We still got time for a couple more people here. I will clear the board, so to speak. Feel free to call in. Oh, my God. Can't stop burping tonight. I drank too much water. All right. Waiting for someone to pop up here. It looks like we have major frame drops. We are having major frame drops right now. Great. I had no frame drops until this segment, and now I'm having frame drops on Twitch TV. Delightful. Aha! Hello, sir.
Hello, Phil.
How's it going?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. I just wanted to talk to you about Sony. I was wondering if you knew the director of Infamous Second Son quit the day before they released the game.
No, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
They're losing people everywhere.
What is going on with this company? It's like people are just, they can't wait to leave or something. I don't know. Like, maybe Sony was promising these people the world with the launch of the PS4 and it just didn't happen. I don't know.
And now they don't have another game to release all year but indie stuff.
Right, that's actually a good point. You know, Sony came out with a statement recently and they said, we have 100 games that are coming out this year. And then people started looking at the list. They're like, it's all indies. Every game is indie. Where are the AAA titles that people are going to want to buy the console for? So, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I love the console. If anyone watched, you know, the playthroughs that I've done on it so far, like Thief or Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes or Infamous Second Son, the games look nice. The games are very visually appealing, but the question is, where are they? And at this point, I don't know.
Hopefully E3 is a good one this year.
That's what we're going to have to hope for, right? Last year it was all about pushing the hardware. Hopefully this year it's about getting software out there, because we definitely need something going with both these consoles. They're just sitting there collecting dust as I play stuff on other stuff. So.
Right, most of the interesting games coming out this year are on the PS3 still. Like the Evil Within.
I really feel bad for people who bought into the hype and went and traded in their current gen consoles to get the next gen, because now they're just sitting there doing nothing. I feel so bad for those people.
Luckily, I kept everything still.
Right, that's a smart bet, you know, especially when you're adopting the next gen. You never know if you could trust what's going to be in the launch window of games, and just so happens this was kind of a dud.
Yeah, if you trade in all the old consoles, you'd be playing nothing right now. You'd be on your 8th run of Infamous.
All right, sir. Well, is there anything else, or that's pretty much it?
I think that you should grind Blitzball all day, every day in Final Fantasy X.
Sir, you are a tremendous jerk. How dare you? All right, thank you for the call, sir. It was good talking to you. All right. We still got time for 1 or 2 more calls. I'll clear the board here. Let's wrap it up with 1 or 2 more good ones. And just so you guys know, I'm literally clicking on whatever the first name is that pops up. I'm not even joking. I'm just clicking on the first name. Here we go. Hello. Hello, is anyone there?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Holy shit. Hello.
Hello, what's going on, man? Could you mute the stream in the background there, please?
I did.
Very good. And who am I speaking with?
To keep it in short is Toon.
Toon? Okay, Toon. What's going on tonight? You got anything you want to talk about in particular?
Well, now that I get this far, Next up is world domination, I guess.
Trust me, getting onto this podcast is not anything that's worth any kind of an accomplishment or a milestone. Trust me, it's a lot easier than you think.
I know. Well, how's the universe holding up for you?
How's the year holding up for me?
The universe, like
the universe. The universe is holding up all right. It's very tumultuous right now, because of right now I'm about to take a week and a half. I don't think since I started doing this on YouTube full time in 2011 that I've taken this much time off before. I've taken, a week off, a little bit less than a week. I've never taken more than a week off. So this is going to be interesting to see how this works. If people still keep watching content, or if they're going to get turned off because there's no new content, and then they kind of wait for me to come back. I'm really hoping the house hunting goes well. I mean, it could go any way. Who knows what we're going to find when we get out there. So it could go many different ways. I don't know. But right now, it's exciting, too. It's exciting to know that I could possibly be moving into a new stage of my life very shortly. So that's what's going on with me right now. That's how the universe is holding up.
Interesting. So what do you think about Arizona, anyway?
Arizona? I don't think about Arizona much. I've never been to Arizona. I don't know much about it, besides a few sports teams. I know it's hot as hell. I think that at one point... I think that one point in my life, my dad actually lived there when he was younger. I think he lived in Arizona and lived on a farm, if you can believe it. But he never really told me too much about that. So I don't know too much about that time period in his life. But why? Do you happen to live in Arizona?
Yep, it's very dry and not cold at all. No snow, no earthquake, no hurricane, no natural disaster bullshit except drought and maybe dust storm.
Dust storms, yeah.
Yeah, the temperature is ridiculously high, 112.
That is quite toasty.
Yeah, quite toasty. Even when
all right.
I have to stand out for like 2 hours, 4, out in the sun working.
Oh my god, that's got to be rough.
Not really.
No? Oh, I guess if you're used to it.
Yeah.
For me, I'd probably melt within 5 minutes, so...
Oh, God.
All right, sir. Well, thank you for your call. You have a good night. I'll try to squeeze in maybe one more here on the podcast.
Okay. I bet you good luck.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone. We got time for about one more call, and then we'll call it a night. The last caller of the night. Let's get someone in here. I'll keep my eyes peeled for when they start popping up again. I see we're dropping frames. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're not affected. I see we're actually dropping frames on the internet here on the stream, and I apologize for that. My internet's acting up again, man. It's starting to really fucking piss me off. It's so inconsistent. Again, it's getting worse. It's probably because the weather changed and we just had a few storms, downpours and such. And it's probably affecting the stuff. But at this point, there's no reason for me to call anyone because I'm not going to be using it for like a week. You know what I mean? Okay. Ooh, we got a bunch of people popping up here. Oh my god, now the problem is there's too many people popping up. They've all covered each other. And I can't even see what order they popped up. I don't know who called first. Now I'm clicking on one, it's not answering. What is going on? Why isn't it answering? All right, I'm clearing the board one more time because it's screwed up here. I'm clearing the board one last time. We'll give it one more shot. Right now, if you send me a call, I may be able to answer. I'm waiting for them to appear. Okay, we got one. Let me call it. Get it quick.
Hello?
Hello. Hello, is anyone there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, hello. Hey, who am I speaking with?
Rocker Zoom. I actually do YouTube too.
Sweet. Very nice. So how are you doing tonight? You got anything in particular you want to talk about?
I'm actually doing pretty good. I was wondering if you have already come up to Washington, because I actually live here near the Seattle area, and I was wondering if you've already come up here for house hunting and stuff.
I have not previously been to the Washington State. What I can tell you is, like I said earlier in the podcast, my aunt lived there for a good, long time of her life. She used to live in Connecticut when I was very young, And then she moved out there, so she's been there a good, 30 years or so. And she knows all about the area. She's told me all about it. And my parents have actually been out there to visit her several times. Recently, actually, I think it was about a year ago, my mom was out there, and a couple of years before that, both my parents were out there. And they both told me all about the weather. They told me all about the cool things you can do there. And that was honestly kind of some of the reason that sold me on that area, was because I knew people who, they wouldn't lie to me and make it sound better than it really is. But it's kind of funny because my aunt, not realizing, like I said, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? So she has a house there, and one day she calls my mother to complain that they raised her property taxes. They're now $900 a year. My mom's like, we pay like $5,000 a year in Connecticut, and you're complaining about $900? So I definitely see the benefits of being there. Now what I can't wait to do is to go out there and be there in person and see what it really is like to physically be there and judge for myself. Because even though I like to believe my parents, I like to believe my aunt, I got to go out there and see, especially for a life-changing decision like this, I got to see it for myself and actually see what the deal is.
Cool. I've actually lived here all my life, so be ready for rain. That's all I got.
That's what everyone says, right? You guys get a lot of rain, but let's be honest. Do you guys get snow? Do you guys get, really hot temperatures?
Actually, there's been one time in like 2009, we got this really hot heat wave for like one day, and then the next day it started raining. and then in 2010, there was like 2 straight weeks of snow, and then 1 week of rain, and 1 week of sun.
Wow.
It's just a lot of stuff here. I don't know why.
Well, that's what I like about where you are, at least from what I've heard, is that you know what to expect. It's very rare when, like you just mentioned, in all those years, you've had 2 years where you had a couple zany things happen. I could literally tell you in the past year in Connecticut, we've had 2 feet of snow, snowstorms, ice storms, sleet, hail, tornadoes, hurricanes. We've had incredibly hot summers with above 100-degree temperatures and incredible amounts of humidity. I had crazy-ass power outages for over a week. I've had, like, everything you could think of besides an earthquake, basically, have been here. And it's like, how could you not see that there are more temperate areas that are a better climate and think that this is a good place to live? Like, if I had my open choice of where to live, I would have never picked Connecticut. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I got to get to a place where there's more consistent weather. I know what to expect on a daily basis. Where my throat's not going to be all screwed up for an entire season like it was this past winter. So I'm ready for a change, and I'm very much looking forward to visiting your state.
I'm just really excited because, like, one of the states I was worrying that you wouldn't go to is Washington State, because I didn't know the state of, like, or how much, or the economy, or, like, it's sort of like the state is in otherwise, like, other than the weather and what's here, like, you know, there's Val, Microsoft, and all that other stuff here, which is really cool, but I just didn't know if you would come here. And when you made that post tweet on Twitter saying Florida, Washington, or Texas, I was really surprised because I didn't know you'd come here. But yeah,
one of the coolest things, and one of the things that, like, is a complete coincidence, is that recently I played Infamous Second Son, which takes place in Seattle. But from what a lot of people have told me is that it only has very few landmarks that are actually really in Seattle. It's most of that game was made up. It wasn't like an attempt to be simulation. But what a coincidence. I just played a game in Seattle, and now I'm about to travel to Seattle and see some of the landmarks, like the Space Needle that I saw in the game. I'm actually going to freaking be there in person. I think that's really neat. So, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, thank you for your call.
No problem. Thanks.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
No problem. Bye. All righty. Well, oh my God, now I'm still getting calls. What the hell's this? Here we go. All right, everyone. Well, let me hold on, before I do my sign off, let me close out Skype so I stop getting pop-ups in my face. I want to thank everyone for watching the show tonight. I want to thank you if you were on Skype for putting up with the bullshit. Not Skype, I'm sorry. If you were on Twitch putting up with this bullshit, because you even see now the stream's still dropping frames. So I apologize for that, obviously. I wish it wasn't doing that. But whether you watch on Twitch or on YouTube, thank you guys very much for watching. And thank you for, like I said, being so supportive. Why am I wearing these headphones still? I don't know. For being so supportive, for watching the content. Basically, everything that I've done on YouTube and on Twitch TV has led to this moment. This was the pinnacle that I was trying to reach, to go out and be able to house hunt and find a nice place where I can continue to do my business and it's better. And I'm very excited about doing it. And I want to say thank you so much for your viewership that has led to this. Again, please, while I am out house hunting and I'm not doing new live streams, take the time, go back and watch something old. You know what I mean? There's plenty of stuff that's out there that I'm sure that I played or done that you haven't seen. 28,000 videos alone just on DSP Gaming. And, you know, I'll come out on the other side of this, hopefully, in a much better position and maybe a new homeowner of a beautiful new home, an office, and lots of cool, fun stuff coming in the future. So that is going to wrap it up for Hate Live tonight, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching, whether on Twitch or YouTube. Have a good night. I will see you next time. I'll see you guys. This is the last stream, by the way, until I return. Unless I squeeze in Resident Evil 4, like I said, on this podcast. But if I don't, this is the last stream until I return. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And, you know, enjoy the content and enjoy the vlogging that I'll be doing while we're out there. I'll try to keep you guys in the know. And also anything, if I could put up on Twitter right away, like a cool picture or something, I'll definitely do that too. So you guys feel like you're connected with what we're doing out there. So peace out, everyone. Have a good night. This has been Hate Live. See you guys later. So long.